Hey guys, welcome back to Sense or Sense. My name is Evan. I come today wanting to talk to you about retirement, and there are several different steps that are really important for retirement. I want to discuss 5 of these that I think are the most important after being an advisor for 17 plus years. And some of them might really surprise you. I have found that a lot of these are somewhat common sense, but they're important for you to remember, and some of them will shock you because they go against the advising community in general. And I've just learned over the years that I want to be as truthful and honest with everybody and give you guys the best advice. That's why I'm on YouTube. So first of all, I want to talk a little bit today about a study that was released from MFS Global Retirement. They mentioned today, they mentioned in a 2023 report that only 60% of the participants think that 60% of the participants think differently about retirement due to inflation. That's really interesting to me, because inflation has not really been an issue in the last, say, 25 years, except for the last 2 or 3 years. And boy, did it become a big deal real quickly. This is interesting to me because just a few years ago, a survey was done that was very similar to this, and it was almost not even on the radar. Most people under the age of 50 don't even know what inflation is, really. The last time we had major inflation in the United States was in the 1970s and early 1980s, and now in the last couple of years. So that's one of the things that really was very interesting about the study that they conducted, as well as the increasing amount of anxiety people are having from fearing that they're not going to be able to retire. 66% don't think that they'll at all be able to retire, or don't think that they'll be able to retire to the measures that they think they could just a few years ago. Only 34% think that they're very confident in being able to retire. This number has fluctuated a lot over the years, but this is one of the worst numbers I've seen as far as the number of people who think that they're not going to be able to retire. It's pretty scary to think about that many people don't think that they're going to be able to retire. It's the lifelong dream in the United States to be able to retire and do what you want to, and that's something that's quickly vanishing. And then, the last thing that the report concluded was that 70% of people would go for some sort of financial advice during their lifetime. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in my 5 reasons why, what you should be doing to prepare yourself for retirement. So let's talk about the 5 different reasons. The first reason that I think is most important for retirement is simply that you need to start early, and that you need to allow compounding to work for you. This sounds easy, but it's very tempting when you're in your 20s and early 30s to go out for that extra dinner or spend that money on something else. The biggest thing that you have working for you in your 20s and 30s is compounding. It doesn't really matter what you put your money in, how diversified you are, although that helps quite a bit when you're in your 20s and 30s. The biggest factor is getting started early and putting money away, paying yourself first, and not allowing yourself to spend all of the money that you have. That's the number one thing. I can't stress that enough. You cannot make up for time when it comes to compounding and making that extra amount of money in your accounts. So ultimately, time is on your side in your 20s and 30s. Get out there, invest, make sure you pay yourself first. Even if it's just a few dollars here and there, it will add up quickly, especially when you do some of the other things I'm about ready to talk to you about. The number two thing is making sure that if you're going to use an advisor, that's fee only. This is really critical. I've actually been a fee only advisor for many years. I don't make anywhere near as much money as the commissioned advisors. What this means is that the advisor that you go and you talk to about retirement or any other financial planning issues that you might have is going to collect a fee, much like a lawyer or a CPA, for the amount of time that they spend in front of you, or the amount of time that they use that you utilize them for. This is really critical. I wouldn't get paid for you to buy securities, investments, things like that through me. And CPAs don't only get paid for the time that they utilize with you or putting your taxes together. Lawyers only get paid for the time that they're talking to you or conducting surveys or research for you. And this is the way that all professionals should be paid, in my opinion. And the industry, the financial planning industry, has had a bad rap for a long time because a lot of financial planners collect a large amount of money for doing a whole lot of nothing. You know, they put your money in something and then they set it and forget it, so to speak. I'd rather you do that and get the advice when you need the advice on really critical topics, whether or not it's related to taxes or, you know, retirement accounts or college savings or something, you know, one-time, you know, stock options, things like that. I'd rather you come to an advisor and talk to them for an hourly fee, even if it's $150, $200, $250 an hour. It's a lot better than paying a percentage of whatever money you might hand over to that advisor. So the big thing is sticking with a fee-only advisor. It will save you a lot of money in the long term, and it will benefit you greatly for your retirement. The third thing I'm going to say about saving for retirement and achieving retirement is you need to stick to low-cost expense ratio funds. So what I mean by that is there are mutual funds and ETFs out there. I prefer ETFs because they trade on the stock exchange and they're more transparent, in my opinion. You can go out there, you can see what they're trading at, you know, minute by minute, second by second, and they tell you exactly how much they're going to cost you. That's called the expense ratio. And along with this, you can buy just about anything that you could possibly imagine in an ETF now. 20 years ago, that was not the case. You had to buy mutual funds. But now you can buy ETFs. You can trade them on any broker-dealer. That's another advantage of ETFs. You can't necessarily do that with mutual funds. Sometimes they're captive to a certain broker-dealer. So ETFs you can trade with any broker-dealer. They're usually free with most broker-dealers, all the more reason to use them. You can use them to diversify your portfolio, which is critically important for a good retirement savings plan. And they're low cost. And a corollary of this is ultimately, I think you should be able to buy all the ETFs that you need for retirement for less than 0.25% per year. So that's 0.25% per year or less. You shouldn't need to be any more fancy than that. You can buy all the index funds out there. I'm a big proponent of indexing your portfolio. That's a topic for a different video. But ultimately, you can buy all the ETFs that you need for your retirement in your own accounts for less than 0.25%. And so that's ultimately another major aspect of retirement that you need to follow and go forward with, because spending all that money on expense ratios and advisors and things like that, that just compounds and ends up taking away a lot of money from you in the long run if you do all that. Now, the next thing that I would say is you should make use of set it and forget it. And now let me explain what that is. Set it and forget it. This good example of that is the paying yourself first, but you can do automatic investments in a lot of the ETFs. You can set up an automatic investment, you know, for every paycheck that comes in, for every month, and you can basically forget it after a while. And that's a great way to get into the market without having to be troubled about trading or getting in and out of something. The biggest critical factor that a lot of people do is they get in and out of things too often. They miss big market runs. They think that they're going to save themselves money from a downturn in the market. And ultimately, if you miss something like the 10 biggest market days each year, you miss out on more than half the overall return for the year. So set it and forget it. Don't mess with it. Don't be a trader. Be a long-term investor. These are all the things that are critical for you to go forward with your retirement. And then the last thing is you have to take advantage of good accounts out there. So what I mean by that is if you have a 401k or a 403b at your employer, they're going to probably match something on that account. You have to take advantage of that to get that match. That's free money to you. So a lot of employers will match 3, 4, 5, or 6%. And then you can put in 3 or 4 or 5 or 6%, and then they're going to give you a free amount of money towards that, to match it. And so if you put 3% in, the employer is going to put 3% in. And that's important. That's one of the most critical ways to get ahead and to build your retirement funds. The other way that you do it if you're self-employed or you don't have an employer match is you use a Roth IRA. And you can use this account for, after your employer account as well, if you have that also, depending on your income. But a Roth IRA is a great tool. You can put money into it as long as you make, earn income each year. You're allowed to, under 50, put $7,000 into a Roth IRA each year. And the beautiful thing about a Roth IRA is it is extremely tax efficient. You put money in after you pay taxes on it, and then it grows in your Roth IRA with all the ETFs and all the other investments that you have, tax-free. So once you turn 59 and a half years old, you can start taking money out of that account or not. It's up to you. And that money that you pull out, all the earnings, everything that was in that account is going to be tax-free. That is a huge way to benefit you in retirement. These things are critical for getting ahead with inflation being as bad as it is, and everything else in this world costing a lot more and having a lot of disadvantages as individuals in this world. You have to utilize all these different ways to save for retirement and get ahead. And I feel like these are the critical things that you can do to benefit yourself going forward. My name is Evan. This is Sense or Sense. I've been an advisor for over 17 years, and I hope that you can take some of the information today and utilize it for yourself. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, and become a part of the channel. And I'll be bringing in more information and more great videos for you guys in the future. Thanks, guys.